Well, you've been doing this for almost 6 years. Have you been pressured for things that you didn't think were right from people, without being any specific instances?
Not really.
Right.
Just you've made some decisions that some people were unhappy with.
Right.
And Tom, as long as I can go home at night and sleep, that's. And I don't want to do anything to cause my family any bad reputation or anything. And I know I've made decisions that people don't like. It's been really tough. I mean, when I came into the office, I think the county's general fund mill levy was almost $9 million. And when I got appointed, you heard me speak. I talked about water and bringing jobs and a whole lot of stuff in the community. And boy, things changed. When our assessed valuation went through the floor, we're working on a $4 million budget where we had a $9 million budget.
Right.
Started with Jim and Ken just a little bit, but with Jim Vigil and Jim Montoya.
Right.
And I think a lot thanks to Bill Cordova. They were trying to build a fund reserve so we could go on, and it's a good thing they did. But it's been tough. You had to make decisions, lay some people off. And
that would have been my next question. You had to cut back quite a bit on personnel.
When you do that, I mean, those people need a living, and they need to make a living. They got kids. Not easy, and I don't care what people think. Some people want to make it a political decision. It's not. It's unfortunately, whether it's a school or a city or the county, or it comes down to dollars. It's the way the world runs, and sometimes you have to make a tough decision. And I think we've got a healthy fund balance right now. It's not been easy. And when you talk about going to CCI, you talk about other counties and municipalities that belong. It's been tough, and they talk about 10, almost 15% they've had to cut. But when you tell them we lost almost 40-some percent, 45% in one deal,
right? They
look at you, how are you dealing with that? And,
right.
That's not easy, and it's not over. Assessor kind of tells us we're going to take another dip, and unfortunately, because of Tabor, every time we hit a new low, that's the limit. So
right, you can only come back up a little bit, or
we could be looking at less than $4 million for 2013.
Well, with that much cutback in the budget, have we cut off some essential services?
You know, I don't think so. I think there's people that are picking up slack and doing more things than they used to, especially in the administration side.
Right.
But we cut some staff. Actually, the other elected officials have cut some staff. And
right.
It's a big help. We went on furlough days last year. That's a good thing we didn't do it this year. We may have to do that again. But when you go back to talking about things you'd like to do, it seems like we're fighting the budget more than we are. I would like to still have the $9 million budget. I think we could have time to think about a lot of things that would be good.
Well, it's in personal business too. It's not just in government.
No.
We're all cutting back. It's a new paradigm shift. But our parents lived through this. They knew how to do it. My mother doesn't want to throw out anything and saves everything. But you learn from that. You know, they weathered it.
Every nail we pulled, we straightened and we reused it again. And I understand that part. And really, actually, if people understood what's going on in ag right now,
right,
it's the only thing I think holding our country up, because ag is absolutely, it's the best it's ever been.
Really?
And I don't think some people realize that.
Now, is that for like farming or for cattlemen, or both?
I think both. And if it weren't for the drought we're all in, cattle are at an all-time high. I think corn, grain, no matter what, it's the big driver in the economy right now.
Right.
And I know for years I was always told that ag was the biggest leading economic deal in Los Animas County. And I think for a while the gas industry probably outdid it, but I'm not so sure right now if it ain't about even again.
What I remember is the ag produced about $80, $90, $100 million. a year annually?
You know, I'm not even going to go there because they've tried to quantify those numbers.
Right.
It's pretty hard because most people in the cow business or farming, they're pretty tight with what they got going on. And,
Right.
and for a lot of years, a lot of my peers, they're not in business no more. But
Right.
Right now, it's
Well, what's
great.
the key right now? Is it are we technically in a drought? Is that hurting, or do we have enough rain to sustain right now?
We're still in a drought, and I just come back from Keystone Wednesday through the middle of the state, and I think the Arkansas there at Canyon City's running 400 second feet, and usually the 4th of July it's still at 2,000 because they take raft trips, and
Right.
I don't think they're. So you start looking at that, and then you get to our area, and actually right here in town looks real good.
Right.
But you don't go to Bashore Junction, and you kind of run out of that in a hurry. So,
Okay.
and that's tough because I've got neighbors who, instead of being able to take advantage of the situation, you either had to sell out or.
Right. That's a tough.
And it cost too much money to get in, and unfortunately, ag doesn't produce a lot of jobs
Right.
like coal mine or the gas fields. But in that sense, I don't think people realize how much money though comes back into the area and
Well, you're going to come in and buy a truck and buy groceries
fuel.
and it turns over 7 times.
And
so it is important.
Kathy and I talked about our expenses are probably more than our parents ever made in a year.
Yeah.
And if you're buying a truck or you're buying anything, you know how high they are. So.
Yeah. It's expensive. Well, Gary, you know what? This is a good place to take a break. So we're going to do that, and then we'll come back. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tom Murphy, and I'm with Gary Hill, and we will be right back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Tom Murphy, and this is Trinidad Now on TTTV Channel 71. With me today in our second segment is current County Commissioner and candidate for his second term, Gary Hill. Gary, thank you for joining us. We're going to jump right back into where the questions that we left off with. And the thing I want to ask about is 3 questions kind of melded into one. Tell me about your qualifications, your accomplishments, and why you think you'd be a good county commissioner.
Well, I think accomplishments, I think been successful business, small business, my wife and I. I believe through the School of Hard Knocks I've learned a little common sense, a little horse sense if you want to call it that, and I think it's served me well over the years, and I think it's served me well as county commissioner. And, qualifications are, there'll be a lot of things that qualify you to be a commissioner. And, I hope they're all good that I have, but they're probably not. So.
Well, why would you be a good county commissioner?
Because I care about people, and I want to help the community, and I'd like to lead us out of where we're at. I think there's a lot of political people in the world that would really like to do that right now because the country, the county, or locally, we're not in a real good time. And sometimes I think maybe that's why this time in history I'm here is because there needs to be some tough decisions made.
Right.
I'm willing to do that.
Well, you're from the ag, and we both know oil and gas has been important here. What do you think the county commissioner's role is in attracting new industry?
I think whenever we get out of this deal, it's going to be really important, and not just us, but the city. We need to come together as a community if we're ever going to move forward. And I think right now is a really tough time to even talk about moving forward. I think
is that because of economics?
It's because of economics. I think right now we should concentrate on, and I've said it in a commissioner meeting, we were talking about ED and some tax breaks that the legislature passed this year, but we should be giving those breaks to the people that are in business here, that have been paying taxes here. It's fine to give somebody an incentive to come here, a tax break, but right now we should take care of the people that have been here taking taxes. And what good does it do if you bring somebody in as a new business and then you forget them and don't do business with them? They're not going to be here long. So That to me is an important part, and hopefully when things turn around, we can. And I think as commissioners, people don't realize it, I think, how much our airport's used.
Right.
We're in the process trying to change a lot of things there. And I think what we need to do is as commissioners, as a county, is to try to be ready when and if this thing turns around. And the airport's not going to be a big thing for a lot of years, but it does get more use now. It surprised me how much and how many people use it.
Right.
We've upgraded, put in card readers so it's easier to get fuel. We're in the process of doing some other things, getting a water line, which we worked with the city over.
Is that still in the works?
We got a grant to put the line in, and hopefully before fall that'll happen.
Okay. It's a 3-inch line?
I believe it is, yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's about 15,000 gallons, or 12,000 gallons a day the city allowed us. And,
now, what do they need all that water for? To do industry out there?
Yeah, that's a possibility, but if you ever get a fixed-based operator, somebody to actually run the airport, which that's a long ways away, they need that water to wash planes, to do a lot of things. And I guess someday, if you had it in mind, if there would be some kind of industry connected to the airport, that would be fine too. But
okay.
That's one of the things that we're doing, trying to be ready. I think one of your reporters asked if we could move the airport closer to town. That'd be great. I just don't know if we have money enough to flatten a spot to do that. So.
Right, or the land.
Yeah.
I mean, land is a premium here, so.
And that's kind of crazy. I knew some of the people that were involved in buying the industrial park.
Right.
Great people. They bought that whole deal for like $3,000, and I don't think people realize the forethought they put into it. And,
yeah.
Some of those same people always tried to get run for political office. They wouldn't do it because they were in business in town. And I've watched it, and you've seen it. If you're in business in town and you get involved in politics, you're not doing your business much favor. So.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way.
And it's a shame. Shouldn't be that way, but that's the way it is in a small community. So
it shouldn't be, but then again, there are times when it's time. You know, you're an American, you have the right. That's the way I feel about it. I would rather do what I think is right, because that's the way I was raised, and have integrity and honor, than money in the bank, because none of us are taking it with us.
You're exactly right there.
It is painful, but sometimes there's difficult choices to make.
My dad was born in 1893, Indian Territory, Oklahoma. He's about my age when I was born. And, I didn't get to work with him a lot, but I'll listen to him.
Right.
He was the old school, your word was your bond, and you're only as good as your word. And I always try to keep mine, and sometimes people don't like what I say or what I think. I used to be a lot bolder and say a lot more about what I thought. I've quieted down as I got older, I believe. But
got to be careful. There's reporters around with tape recorders now.
Everybody's got a picture and a camera and a recorder.
Camera phone and a recorder. Yeah, that's interesting.